Everything begins with a silence so heavy, the world forgets how to breathe. A silence so sharp it cuts through the skies over Metropolis, leaving even Superman frozen in place. Because in one brutal, impossible moment, Lois Lane is gone. No villain, no alien empire, no cosmic war. Just a simple human tragedy that even a god couldn't predict. And that's the cruel twist. The world doesn't lose its greatest reporter. Superman loses his reason to stay human. Before we go deeper, subscribe to Genesis Vault to explore more stories that break heroes and rebuild them. The day begins like any other. Lois leaves the apartment earlier than usual, clutching a mug of coffee and typing mid-stride. Clark watches her from the doorway with that quiet smile he never shows anyone else. He listens to her heartbeat fading down the hallway, her fast, bright, anxious rhythm he's learned better than his own. He doesn't know it's the last time he'll ever hear it. Hours later, Metropolis police scanners erupt with chaotic chatter. A bridge collapse, multiple cars down, a breaking point in the steel structure no one saw coming. It's an accident, a tragic one. Superman arrives in seconds, tearing through twisted metal like paper, trying to reach survivors buried under the wreckage. Then he hears the voice. Victim identified, Lois Lane. Time stops. Everything stops. Clark Kent vanishes in that instant. What's left is something colder. A figure kneeling beside the ruined metal, cradling a body that can't speak back. His cape barely moves. The wind doesn't dare touch him, because grief this massive pulls gravity toward it. The world records it as the moment Superman broke. The days that follow are a blur. Crowds gather outside the Daily Planet, leaving flowers and messages. Governments send condolences. Heroes arrive in Metropolis one by one. Bruce, Diana, Barry, all whispering plans to check on him. But how do you comfort someone who hears every heartbeat on Earth, except the one he needs? For the first time since he was a boy in Kansas, Clark feels completely alone. And grief does something dangerous to a Kryptonian. He stops sleeping. He stops smiling. He stops pretending to be Clark. People notice the changes. Superman hovers above the city longer than he used to. His eyes glow just a little too bright. He listens for cries of danger with an intensity that unsettles even his closest allies. Because saving others becomes an obsession. Punishment. A bargain with a universe that took the one person he couldn't protect. When a fire breaks out downtown, Superman arrives before the alarm finishes ringing. When a mugging occurs in an alley, he's there before the first punch lands. He becomes ruthless in his speed, merciless in his precision. Helpful? Yes. Heroic? Maybe. Healthy? Not even close. People begin whispering that he's acting like he's chasing something that already slipped away. One night, Batman confronts him on a rooftop. Rain hits Clark's cape, turning it a deeper red. Bruce removes his cowl not as a warrior, but as a friend. You're burning yourself from the inside, he says. You can't outrun grief. Superman doesn't answer. He just stares at the city, eyes unfocused, hearing everything yet listening to nothing. Bruce asks the question no one else dares. Clark, are you trying to replace her? By saving everyone you can't save Lois. The Man of Steel's jaw tightens. A single spark of heat vision flickers behind his eyelids. But he doesn't deny it, because every rescue is a lie he tells himself. That maybe if he's fast enough, strong enough, vigilant enough, the universe will return what it stole. But the universe doesn't bargain. It only watches. The turning point arrives on a cold night when Superman stops a bomb threat on the waterfront. A desperate man holds a detonator, terrified and cornered. Clark swoops down, disarms him instantly, and pins him to the ground with more force than necessary. The criminal screams. Bones crack. The crowd gasps. And for the first time, Superman realizes his hands are shaking. Not from fear, but from anger. Lois would have grabbed his wrist. She would have whispered, "You're better than this." She always knew how to pull him back from the edge. But now no one does. Later, as Superman stands alone on the top of the planet Globe, he thinks about the question the world now fears to ask. Without Lois Lane, can Superman stay Superman? Or does the symbol die when the heart behind it breaks? The city lights spread beneath him like constellations. Once, he saw hope in every glowing window. Now they feel like reminders of lives he must protect at all costs, even if it destroys him, because grief has changed him. And change this deep carries consequences the world isn't prepared for. Yet somewhere, far beyond the skyline, something stirs. A voice, a signal, a presence watching him from the dark. Superman believes he's grieving alone. But he's about to learn he's being pulled toward a truth bigger than loss itself. A truth that will reveal what happens when the world's greatest hero loses the person who made him human. And in that truth waits the answer to the question no one wants to face. Can Superman survive without Lois Lane? Or does he become something far more dangerous? The night grows colder over Metropolis, but the man floating above it feels nothing. No wind, no warmth, no weight, only the hollow absence where Lois Lane's heartbeat used to live. Superman has spent days forcing himself into battles he once solved with compassion. Now each fight is a release valve for the storm inside him. Each punch is a question he can't answer. Each rescue is a door that refuses to reopen. But the universe is not done with him. Something calls to him from beyond the clouds, a frequency woven into the upper atmosphere, soft enough that no human could detect it, but sharp enough to slice through Kryptonian senses. A pulse, a warning, a message meant only for him. Superman rises, breaking through the stratosphere in seconds. Stars unfold before him like shards of cold fire. And then he hears it clearly vibrating through every atom in his bones. A voice, a familiar one, Kal-El. For a split second, he stops breathing. Because this isn't a transmission from Earth. This is something older. Something that carries the echo of a world long gone. It's the voice of Jor-El. But this isn't the gentle hologram from the fortress. This is different. Fragmented, urgent, drenched in a desperation Superman never heard from his father. My son, you must listen. The signal trembles. Lois Lane's death is not a fixed event. It is interference. A distortion in the timeline. Someone has altered fate itself. Superman's eyes blaze, the void of space reflecting fire. His grief fractures. Hope, confusion, fury, all collide in his chest. Altered. Interference. Not natural. The words coil around him like chains being ripped apart. He whispers into the vacuum. Tell me who did this. The signal flickers, breaking apart. An entity manipulating destiny. Searching for a way to control you. To test your limits. To see what breaks you. A shadow spreads across Superman's face. Someone murdered Lois. Just to see how he would fall. The message distorts further. Her fate is not sealed. Time can still bend. But if you follow this path in anger, the world will follow you into ruin. The transmission dies. Silence swallows space again. For a long moment, Superman doesn't move. His heart doesn't race. His breath doesn't shake. His grief solidifies into something diamond hard. Someone stole Lois from him. Someone tampered with time itself. Someone believes they can shape a god by breaking the woman who grounded him. They were wrong. Superman descends back toward Earth like a falling star. But he doesn't return to Metropolis. He flies north, past frozen oceans, across fields of ancient ice, until the shimmering crystal towers of the Fortress of Solitude rise from the ground like a cathedral carved from starlight. Inside, the fortress awakens at his presence. Lights pulse, consoles hum, but the air feels darker than usual, as if the structure itself senses the storm tightening inside its master. Superman steps into the central chamber, activating the temporal archives. The holographic timeline unfolds, a river of light showing events he knows by heart. But Lois's timeline is fractured. The moment of her death glows like a wound torn into history. This isn't destiny, it's sabotage. And the signature left behind is unmistakable. a ripple of quantum distortion, a fragment of impossible energy, a symbol burned into the temporal fabric, not written, but carved. A curved spiral made of living darkness. Superman recognizes it instantly. Mr. MXYZPTLK, the fifth-dimensional trickster. A being who plays with reality like a child plays with paper. A creature powerful enough to erase cities with a snap and rewrite time for amusement. Superman clenches his fists. The air bends around him. Even the fortress seems to flinch. MXYZPTLK never acts without purpose. And if he tampered with Lois's fate, this wasn't a prank. This was a message. The moment he speaks the trickster's name aloud, the temperature drops. The lights flicker. The world vibrates, not physically but fundamentally. And then a figure materializes. Short, smirking, floating upside down with a bowler hat that spins like a coin. "Cal, my boy," he says, voice dripping with mock innocence. "You look awful. Lois will do that, especially when it's engineered." Superman doesn't blink. "Bring her back." MXYZPTLK taps his hat. "Oh, I could. I really could. But where's the fun in that? You see, I'm observing something fascinating. Without Lois Lane, you're not the symbol of hope anymore. You're a weapon waiting to be sharpened." The room trembles as Superman's heat vision ignites, outlining him in red fire. The trickster snorts. "Temper, temper. You break too easily when your heart breaks. And that, my dear Kryptonian, is exactly what I needed to know." Superman lunges. But MXYZPTLK snaps his fingers. Reality snaps with it. The fortress dissolves. The ice disappears. The world bends, twists, folds, until Superman finds himself suspended in an endless white void. MXYZPTLK's voice echoes everywhere. "You want your timeline restored? Earn it. Show me what Superman becomes without his precious Lois." The void transforms into Metropolis, but not his Metropolis. This version is decayed, broken, dark. A world where Superman fell so deep into grief he became what people feared most. Tyrant, a ruler, a monster wearing his face. Superman stands face to face with a twisted version of himself. A darker Clark whose eyes burn with endless rage. This is the future MXYZPTLK wants him to see. A future where the world kneels before him. A future born from a single loss. Lois was not taken just to test him. She was taken to shape him. Superman steps forward, calm but lethal. "This isn't my future." The darker Superman smirks. "It is, unless you break the cycle." As the two prepare to collide, the voice of Lois, faint, desperate, alive, echoes through the broken air. "Clark, find me." Superman's eyes widen. His pulse returns. Hope ignites. She isn't gone. She's trapped somewhere beyond time, waiting for him. The two Supermen clash with a shockwave that shreds the false skyline. Light erupts. Darkness cracks. MXYZPTLK screams in frustration. Because Superman finally understands the truth. He can survive without Lois Lane, but he refuses to live without her. And the universe is about to witness what the Man of Steel becomes when love and grief unite into unstoppable resolve. The battle tears open a rift of raw temporal energy, a doorway into the place where Lois has been hidden. Superman doesn't hesitate. He flies straight into the light, to save the one person who saved him first. And as the rift collapses behind him, his voice echoes through the void. "I'm coming, Lois."